All right, y'all. We out here. Hopefully. Okay. Now, here's the deal, y'all. I am also streaming this to Twitch. You want to take a wild guess as to what my Twitch channel name is? Snappy Headed Jojoba. I've never streamed to Twitch. But, and however, uh, Audra, if you're here, I'm not sure yet because we're just getting up and running, so the chat is a bit delayed. Audra was very much recommending that I get on Twitch just because of the nature of the things that I tend to talk about and the heavy censorship and self-censorship that has to happen to be able to do a YouTube. So this channel will never get to 15 subs. I mean, let's dare to dream. But big agree. Let me move this here. Vote in your local elections. Young voters, please take yourself seriously. You need to be pressing for change. It's not about who you do vote for. What about what it's about? I lost the second half of that comment, but yeah. Yeah, you guys, don't let anyone bully you or shame you into voting a certain way. Your vote is completely up to you. Okay. First off, hey y'all. This is the only comment I've seen so far, the one I just put up. So if y'all are out there, please do let me know if this is even working. Black August solidarity, first and foremost. Okay. Hello. I think, here we go. All right. I think we're up and running. Hey, Ajama. Hey, y'all. Hey. I don't think I've been on YouTube since Dot was bodying Aubrey. Wop, just back to back diss tracks. But it has been a minute since I've been on YouTube. I've been plenty busy as usual on my other platforms, which I may as well use that as a chance to go ahead and do the little calls to action. Now, as y'all know, because I finally stopped being shy about promoting it, I mention it at the top of every video or live. Check me out on Patreon. This was, I believe, a 90-minute live that I did just for my patrons last week, where I got a lot more in depth about my feelings on things ever since Biden finally fell back and, now we have our presumed nominee in Kamala Harris. So I hopped on and chatted with the fam about that last week. I'm going to be a lot more brief today for various reasons. Again, like YouTube, it's difficult. If you want to enjoy more content from me on the free, I'm also on Instagram. Here's just a quick glimpse at what I got going on there. I've been doing a lot of fitness content, just some lifestyle updates. This is me attending a red carpet event, as you can see. It was fun for me to have a reason to dress up and enjoy an open bar, but like I am just not invested in empire like that. So that was really the main reason I went, other than being a nominee. We lost, no big deal. There's my dog's birthday. She turned 8. She is currently cleaning her paws on the couch. And mostly I've been putting up stuff like this, a lot of gym content lately, because I used to do gym content here on YouTube, but it did not perform well because y'all just apparently only care when I'm being messy. So if you do like that kind of stuff, I've been pretty consistent. I've been showing my workouts, oops, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to do this. I've been showing my workouts pretty consistently the past several months. Thank you, Rumi. My hair has been doing quite well. I did have a setback when I caught COVID. I had significant hair loss as part of the long COVID after effects, and it's nice to feel like my things are getting back in order with the hair loss, parosmia, just all of those. Oh, thank you so much, Latrice. Yeah, I've really enjoyed being able to do that kind of content with no stakes because I'm not monetized on Instagram. I think there actually is a way to monetize on Instagram other than obviously having spawns, which I have not done. But nonetheless, I need a place where I don't have to worry about things hurting my channel like I do here. But anyway, that's that. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Darlene. And put in Teint 12. You are right. Other countries are laughing at us about these elections. You're not the only one who is embarrassed. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about being coconut pilled real quick. Real quick. I don't want to keep y'all too long tonight, but I feel like I'm going to go longer than I want to because that's what usually happens. But I am going to try to limit my commentary here, at least on this live, because I've made a vow to limit how much I talk about this election and politics in general, at least publicly, meaning on YouTube, because I simply cannot deal with the two-party dictatorship and the groupthink that comes along with it. So as everybody knows by now, Biden dropped out officially a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks. And as you all know by now, also, Kamala Harris is the presumed nominee for the Democratic Party because the DNC says so. I was surprised to see the Obamas dragging their heels or unendorsing her. If y'all remember, it took a couple of days. In fact, Barry at first was just like, no, we should actually have a process to select the nominee. And then he walked that back and endorsed Kamala Harris a couple of days after that. I guess in much the same way that Obama and his donors applied the necessary pressure behind the scenes, barely behind the scenes, but nonetheless, they applied the necessary pressure to get Mr. Magoo to finally fall back. I guess some even bigger donors then applied the necessary pressure to him and Michelle to fall in line. Hey girl, good to see you. And yes, where is that? I wanted to put this up. This election is just a sad comedy. Big agree. Anyway, here's Michelle Obama's endorsement, which came out, I guess better late than never as far as some people are concerned. And to me, this seemed, I don't know, child. To quote Trinity the Tuck, I call shade. Because none of the qualities that she's listing here, none of these are top of mind in what I look for in the leader of the free world. Positivity, sense of humor, ability to bring light and hope, as opposed to hope and change. This sounds more like something you'd sign in somebody's yearbook. But anyway, the Obamas came around. All right, so who will be Harris's VP pick is that's a TBD. That's still unknown. But I imagine what they'll do is they'll find someone to complement her in the same way that Biden was a strategic complement to Obama, and just as Harris was a strategic complement to Biden. It's pretty obvious what they're doing here. So even though there is no shortage of people who will never, ever, ever, ever vote for a multiracial woman, full stop, end of sentence. We don't even need to get into the actual politics or the platform. Never underestimate the pervasiveness of misogyny. Never underestimate it. And even though Harris is multiracial, she gonna catch that misogynoir also too as well. She gonna catch that. She's not black, she's multiracial. That's not shade. That's a statement of fact. She's multiracial. I think part of the issue is the one drop rule, a cudgel, which, by the way, was created by white supremacists to disenfranchise anyone who wasn't alabaster white. That's where the one drop rule comes from, and which now is bizarrely also wielded by a lot of black people and other people of color because of their own desire to have proximity to whiteness vis-a-vis a mixed race person. But that's another kettle of fish. We're not going to get into that on today. The point is the one drop rule is alive and well, unfortunately, but it is not shade. It is not a drag to call a person accurately what they are ethnically. I don't understand. Now, this is a whole nother conversation. I don't really have time for it today, but Drumpf was trying to used that to shade Kamala at that National Association of Black Journalists appearance a day or two ago, which, why'd y'all invite him in the first place? Why are you platforming him, National Association of Black Journalists? Anyway, they did, and then he's now on the talking points of and that's honestly like kind of their own fault in the Democratic Party, because they're trying to like black it up with Kamala instead of just being real. Like, she's multiracial. It's not a fucking judgment. That's just what she is. You know what I mean? Anyway, it would still behoove the Democrats to try to, balance the ticket, I guess you could say, with a white male. I got to put the "wh" on it. A white, not spicy white. Not spicy white, not ethnic in any way whatsoever. Because we're already seeing people try to use Harris's multiracial background or calling her a black woman to make it seem like she somehow isn't qualified. In this dog and pony show, this farce of democracy that has never actually been a democracy, shout out to the Electoral College and the oligarchs, but in this grift of an election, and by the way, let me just show you guys this meme actually, because this kind of sums up my feelings on government in general. I bring a sort of all these rules are made up vibe to everything that every institution I've been to don't really like. They don't like date. Because the same people making the laws now are the descendants of the people who said that their ancestors could own me. Why should I have any respect for any of your ideas? You're not qualified to govern me. But here we are. Here we are. As we play along with this farce, this system unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be a simulation. Guys, this seems to be real life, and we all just have to kind of play along to get along. But the argument is being made that Harris is unqualified. And to me, that's pretty absurd, honestly, because, again, I'm not speaking on me loving her politics, but if we're abiding by these made-up rules and this made-up governance, by those people's rules, she is qualified. She's a former senator and a current vice president of the United States. That's about as qualified as it gets. This is a paint by numbers kind of path to becoming a party nominee of the major two parties. I mean, would people feel better if she were a washed up reality show host? Would that make her more qualified? Anyway, if the person saying Harris isn't qualified is the same person saying that's why they're going to vote for Drumpf, none of us need to waste our breath. None of us here, because y'all are smart. On this channel, we have a lot of readers. We have a lot of people who teach me things frequently. We have a lot of people who have lived experiences that help expand my POV, my point of view, and my perspective, and help me to just move smarter and move better. Because I'm not even gonna say it. But yeah. So anyway, if this idea that Harris isn't qualified, so now you're gonna vote for Drumpf. Meanwhile, Drumpf had nothing going on for him going all the way back to 2016 other than being a white male, a racist white male at that. That was enough to qualify him. Cool. That's a bingo, gleeful musings. Where were Don's qualifications? Bankruptcy and a failed reality show. Cute. Well said, Wellspring Phoenix. She is the first truly non-white candidate. They have to undermine her qualifications as a default. Yeah, I mean, Barry had a whole white mama. Phenotypically, he just looks like a black man. But the way he was moving politically earlier in his career is a lot of what helped position him to eventually become the president. But again, we don't have time for that. I, too, am in California, bitter almonds. And yeah, it's the bluest of the blue states. So What can we do? What can we do? Oh, we got a super chat. Thank you, Spontaneous Mix. I'm reserving my judgment until she announces VP pick, hoping for 2019 Kamala to return, hoping she picks Waltz and not Shapiro or Kelly. I mean, Shapiro in particular, as I was saying a moment ago, with her being a multiracial woman, if the Democrats go with a Jewish man as her running mate, they really are trying to lose. America ain't progressive. America ain't progressive. My mic went out? Testing, testing. Can y'all hear me? I'm gonna hold off. If y'all can hear me, just put it in the chat because Ajama said my mic went out. Yes, Wu-Tang Cream. If she picks Shapiro, I feel like there's just the people she would try to persuade with her running mate. Oh, now you making everybody panic, girl. The people she needs to persuade, and I don't. To be honest with y'all, I'm not even sure these people exist. Who in the hell is still invested enough in the two-party dictatorship to be like, I don't know, Trump or Harris? I just. But assuming these people exist, these bizarre people who are still that committed to this farce of democracy, I don't think that person is left enough to be okay with Shapiro. A Khalid and a Jew? This is the way these people are going to think. Meanwhile, that person is already voting for Drumpf anyway. So, like, I'm not really sure who they'd be trying to entice with that. I think they need to try to entice the so-called moderates who are just right-wing anyway, much like Harris herself. Anyways, so yeah, are y'all coconut pilled or no? Huh? Anybody coconut pilled? I gotta say the phrase coconut pilled has made me cringe pilled. When I first heard that, I was just like, oh, hell to the nah, to the nah, nah, nah. Plus, that's honestly a poor choice of words just because coconut already means something and it's derogatory for a woman of color like Kamala Harris. So I don't know, child. But, you know, Kamala is brat. Hotties for Harris. Listen, if you are bothered that both the red candidate and the blue candidate have nothing to say about stopping the systemic displacement, disenfranchisement, exploitation, torture, and terrorism happening as we speak in Sudan, in Congo, in Haiti, Nigeria right now. There's crazy protests going on because the poverty has gotten out of control along with inflation because these things are related. If you would rather vote for a candidate who cares about those things, if you would rather vote for a candidate who didn't take money from APAC, well, that wipes out Drumpf and the presumed Democratic nominee, doesn't it? Hmm. And I know, Project 2025. I know, Project 2025. Um, the truth is, the way I see it, Project 2025 is a threat, but it would also, for a lot of people living at the edges of society who are living hand to mouth, who are one check engine light away from financial ruin, these folks, Project 2025 would only change day to day experiences with Empire from being enforced de jure rather than de facto. Jim Crow, convict leasing, chattel slavery, these were all rebranded and concealed better. They're doing better at hiding it, but they never fully went away. Richie Reseda, who is someone I follow on Instagram, he shared this the other day. There is a difference between begrudgingly voting for Kamala Harris and publicly endorsing Kamala Harris like it's a flex for freedom. I could not have said it better myself. You know, there's a difference. I had to save it because it just articulates my feelings so perfectly. And, you know, I don't really want to say too much on the matter in a public live because, again, I refuse to devote my energy to imbeciles who think that anyone who isn't voting blue, no matter who, or who isn't twerking for Harris, um, these kinds of things are giving Hillary Clinton-esque pandering. Remember Clinton talking about how she always takes her hot sauce in her bag with her? Girl. But stuff like this, with Meg doing her business twerk. I saw a clip and I was just like, well, that's not full strength. This her family friendly twerk? Because it just seemed a little bit dialed back for the rally in Atlanta. But I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like a better strategy for mobilizing. Ooh, Coney 2012. Good God. Uh, I don't think I even understand that, but I do appreciate the super chat. What a throwback. Wow. That is 14 years ago now, you guys. Anyway, I feel like a better strategy, if you're trying to mobilize Black people, and they only seem to do this to us, they only seem to start like eating chicken wings at Roscoe's and twerking and talk about, we gon' win again. They only do this to us. Where's the discussion of policy? Like, maybe it's me, but I feel like a better strategy for mobilizing Black voters would be proposing solutions to improving our material conditions. But, ignore me. Ignore me, because to even raise a question like that is, of course, a sign that I'm going to vote for Drumpf. Obviously, that's what that means if I'm even asking that question. Vote blue, no. Love the blue on Meg. It's all I care to comment about that whole thing. That's funny. And yes, K-Love, it is absolutely pandering. Like, what other voter base do they go to and start, like, doing this kind of stuff? It's insulting. All right. So, anyway, the vote blue no matter who zombies are back. They took a 4-year slumber and they're back now because I'm seeing the same kind of rhetoric, same type of simple-minded thinking as I saw 4 years ago on social media all over again. And vote blue no matter who as a phrase has to be the stupidest rallying cry I've ever heard in my life. And I don't want to bemoan this because, as I said, I already did this 4 years ago when I was dealing with breathtaking stupidity in my comments on a weekly basis. But this person really hit the nail on the head. Kenzie, I believe this is a twat from Twitter. Not Kenzie. Love this person, but the actual platform. Still thinking about how tens of thousands of people jumped on Zoom calls to rally for Kamala Harris, and not a single minute of that time was devoted to drafting collective policy demands before lending unequivocal support for her campaign. I mean, is Kenzie wrong? I guess because of the boogeyman of Drumpf, suddenly ethnic cleansing isn't an urgent issue, Because Biden and Harris and Drumpf are all Zionists. Drumpf was the one who declared Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and moved the U.S. embassy there. Remember? Oh, wait, I think I have a follow-up. Coney 2012, much like Project 2012, is social media hysteria promoted by half-truths. This isn't a Trump endorsement, by the way. The fact that you even have to qualify that at the end, that's where we're at. And I take your point. I see what you're trying to say with that. I take your point. With this boogeyman of Drumpf, all of a sudden, the people who turns out were just virtue signaling, I guess, about the ceasefire, we'll deal with that later. Meanwhile, we're around between 125 to 150 Palestinians just gone. The estimates are still saying around 100K, but most people think that those are low because with all of the bombings, a lot of bodies and people are still missing and unaccounted for. And I'll remind you that more than half of the Palestinian population is children. And that's not even getting into the other places I've mentioned, like Haiti, Congo, Sudan. Like it is, ooh, we are in a dystopic time. It's already here, you guys. Um, but yeah, as far as the whole, never mind that, I'm coconut pilled brigade. I mean, voting for Harris is not going to help that situation any more than voting for Trump will. American political leaders, both Republican and Democrat, gave a standing O to Netanyahu, a demon responsible for committing an ongoing genocide in Gaza, and MFers in my comments saying, we need to vote for Kamala before fascism takes over America. I've been saying for years, why are we acting like fascism is this threat that's looming on the horizon? The fact that we have to censor ourselves this much in this chat, on these platforms, I mean, we can see in real time the atrocities being committed in the name of empire, as well as the loss of freedoms and rights here just to even speak about these things. You want to post about Palestine? Welcome to being shadow banned. Welcome to being suppressed, so that you'll only be shown to maybe a fraction of the people who the algorithms have already figured out agree with you anyway, rather than helping to spread the word and recruit and revolutionize and activate people. So then you're just going to be in this circle jerk echo chamber of people who already agree with you, but not even all of them, just a fraction, so that it looks like your account is actually still active. Fascism is here, and it's been here. It's been here. If you don't believe me, look up the actual tenets of fascism. I've gone over them before on my channel, and I'm just not finna do it again tonight, child. A lot of people have shown that their problem was never Biden's policies. Their problem was just that he's embarrassing. They were just upset that he's like incoherent. Even more than Drumpf, which is saying a lot, because Drumpf don't be making sense. Those aren't real sentences most of the time. And then, even when he does communicate, it's usually because he's hyping himself up or responding because his ego has been wounded, as we saw again with the National Association of Black Journalists panel the other night, when they opened with a question after he'd already been introduced. Because he didn't like the question, he wasted a whole bunch of time, after, by the way, already delaying the start of the event by at least 30 minutes because he refused to have them be able to live fact check anything he said. He refused fact checking. Wonder why? Wonder why Mr. Fake News would refuse fact checking. Curious. But even after they got going, because he didn't like the question, he then used that time to just complain about the question because he felt that it was unflattering to him. Anyway, another thing I want to show y'all is this tweet from Twatter. So is the plan for the world to just get used to daily images of slaughtered babies? Is that, again, it's one thing to begrudgingly get on board and vote blue, but can we at least be honest about what's happening here? That's all. That's all. I guess we're also supposed to just get used to more Sonia Masseys and more Tatiana Jeffersons and more Breonna Taylors. We're supposed to just be used to the largest displacement of civilians in history, which is happening right now in Congo, as well as getting used to the assassination of Palestinian journalists and the starvation and systemic, again, speaking to this idea of living under fascism, I'm just going to say SA and hope you guys know what I mean. The systemic SA of Palestinian detainees and civilians by the IDF. Like, that's part of the tactic, right? We're supposed to get used to that because it's possible to raise millions of dollars for a Zionist in 24 hours or so of announcing that she's running. But Friends of the Congo hasn't been able to raise $100K in months. Months. By the way, I did go ahead and put the Friends of Congo fundraiser in the D box if anyone cares. Okay, so all of these struggles, as in multiple struggles that I've listed, and there's more, I'm just being brief with it, these issues are the tip of the iceberg. And they are also interconnected because they're all products of US imperialism. So the blue no matter who zombies are trying to wag their finger at anyone who keeps pressure on about Congo or about Palestine, calling people who do this single issue voters, like it's some kind of gotcha. And while I do agree that being a single issue voter is in general very short sighted and ultimately very anti progress, I'm okay with being a single issue voter when the issue is genocide. If that's the single issue, I feel like people should be able to get behind that. Yeah, Danny, this is one of the things that people are using, again, Project 2025 as a cudgel, to be like, well, he's going to make it legal for cops to kill people without impunity. That's happening. Again, this is de facto versus de jure. And frankly, with qualified immunity, it's also already basically written in. Like, it's not de facto. We've been trying to end qualified immunity for a long time, at least here in my city, in some of the groups I work with. Anyway. And just to really drive home the attitude of the average Zionist, this was one of the most horrific tweets I've ever seen. Like the fact that this person said this ostensibly out loud and was just like, yeah, I'm going to post this. In the Jewish state, by Jewish law, only a Jewish woman can be assault of a non-Jew is a lesser crime. Do you believe a Jewish state has a right to exist, or you want us in the sea? So this person is basically saying, hey, we're allowed to women, and if you disagree, you're an anti-Semite. That's what this is saying. So this is what we're dealing with, okay? This is why it's not cool to be like, it's all right if she's a little bit of a Zionist, and she's more than a little bit of a Zionist. Again, I'm not telling anybody how to vote because I don't do that, and I never have. Never have, never will. But this is Zionism. This is it. Hey, Audra. I think I'm streaming on Twitch right now, but I'm not certain. Thank you for the encouragement. With my software, I was able to just basically like log into my Twitch, and supposedly I'm doing both YouTube and Twitch at the same time, but we finna see. Anyway, people keep harping on Project 2012, like Black, brown, and marginalized people aren't already living it. Gets on my nerves. This is what I keep saying. This is exactly what I keep saying. Obviously, we agree. All right, so as if this weren't already chaotic enough, y'all remember Kyle Shittenhouse, that murderer who got off? Again, the realities of Project 2012 have been happening for a long time, you guys. Guess who's not voting for Drumpf? Well, I'll be. And this is actually not Lukewarm Ti. This is, as you can see, this is from today. All right? Today. As in August 2nd, the day I'm doing this live with y'all. Let's see what happened. And I'm not going to show you the video of him announcing it. You can actually see the still of it there. But I don't want to, I mean, listen. I'm not going to make y'all watch his video because even 30 seconds of watching that violent thug on video is 30 seconds too much. You know what I mean? But let's just go through it. Let's just go through it. This is what he says. He says, hi, I'm Kyle Shittenhouse, outreach director for Texas gun rights. A lot of people are upset that I said I'm going to be writing in Ron Paul for president of the United States. And that is true. I will be writing in Ron Paul, the 21-year-old said in the clip, referring to the former Texas congressman. Unfortunately, Donald Trump had bad advisors, making him bad on the Second Amendment, and that is my issue, Shittenhouse added. And is anybody surprised that he's like a single voter issue or single issue voter for 2A? Is anyone surprised? The guy who took his AR across state lines to murder people at a protest? Anyone surprised that he wants his 2A rights untouched? If you cannot be completely uncompromisable on the Second Amendment, I will not vote for you and I will write somebody else in. We need champions for the Second Amendment or our rights will be eaten away and eroded each day. I support my decision. See, this is how you know. This is fetal alcohol syndrome grown up. I support my decision and I have no takebacks. Hours prior, Rittenhouse shared a photo with Ron Paul. La-dee-fucking-da. Good for you. So, yeah. That happened today. I think I have one more slide from this. Shittenhouse was charged with first degree. This is just a reminder. Shittenhouse was charged with first degree intentional homicide, first degree reckless homicide, attempted first degree intentional homicide, and 2 counts of first degree recklessly endangering safety in November 2021. He was acquitted of all 5 charges in the deaths of Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber after claiming self-defense. But sir, no one had invited you. But we don't need to go over that again. We had the survivor as well, Paul Prediger, who was shot but survived. And of course, B6 is not happy. She's not happy for a number of reasons, because I wouldn't be happy if I were her, period. If I had to wake up and that was my life and that was who I was, I wouldn't be happy either. I effing hate rhino traitors. Every one of them will be exposed for who they are. Kyle Shittenhouse turns his back on Donald Drumpf and MAGA by announcing he's not voting for him. Who else is tired of rhino traitors taking advantage of the MAGA party? Wah, wah. So B6 is mad. All the MAGAts are pressed. And I like to see it. I like to see it. I actually love to see it. This is what these racist MFers get for platforming and paying, because remember them fundraisers? This is what they get for platforming scum like Vyle Shittenhouse. That's what you get. This is the guy y'all celebrated for murdering people at a protest in support of Black lives. Y'all celebrated him for that. And now y'all are shook that he ain't loyal? These hoes ain't loyal. I would have thought scum recognized scum, but oh well. Shittenhouse, he has the right to vote for whoever he damn please. And his vote, unfortunately, counts just as much as mine or yours. Whoops. Whoops. It's like snakes in a basket. Marjorie, sit down. Yeah. Yes. So that's the bulk of what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. But just before we go, because I have been enjoying kind of wrapping up the more serious topics with something a little bit more on the silly side, or in this case, I guess I should say goofy. Because let's talk about Tiffany Haddish discovering a grocery store in Africa, specifically Zimbabwe. I'm just going to play y'all a little video real quick. Give me a moment, please. I forgot to import it, so now I got to find it. All right, here we go.
So I'm out here in Zimbabwe, in Harare, and look at the grocery store.
All right, fair warning. I'm not going to make it that far through this, y'all, because I just can't deal. I can't deal. Hold on, we got a super chat as well while I'm paused. Nothing to do with the topic at hand. Just wanted to thank you for breaking down how many stocks do I really have in stock. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5. Hey, that's one of my favorite bars. Oh, that was a fun time to be alive. But yeah, this is Tiffany Haddish. Just the way she's pronouncing words is grating to me. So this is like a 4.5 minute video as well that she had posted on her TikTok. So we're not going to make it all the way through. I'm just going to show y'all a little bit.
They got a grocery store. It's beautiful. It's beautiful in a grocery store. Look at these.
Skip ahead a bit.
Humongous. In Africa, baby. Yeah. Believe it, believe it, believe it, believe it. Africa. Zimbabwe.
Ugh. All right, jump again.
They got the mouthwash on deck. They got the soaps on deck, toothpaste on deck.
All right, you guys get the idea. Let's get out of this, please. All right, so she got dragged. She got dragged on social media because that seems to be what Tiffany Haddish does. Is she does something less than smart, and then she gets dragged on social media. And you know, she got dragged yet again this time, but she responded yet again because she ain't no stranger to clapping back. You know, problem is she's not great at it. You know, she's not great at clapping back, and she tends to make things worse. Yeah. But in the aftermath of this going viral for all the wrong reasons, let's go through her responding. Tiffany Haddish responds to backlash amid her Zimbabwe grocery store video. I am demystifying some bull S. I have been eyes full of tears finding out the truth, Haddish said of her reaction to the supermarket. The media be lying. Now, before we even get into this, I feel like my perception of this whole situation has been, to a point, right message, wrong messenger. Because I do think that the way Africa is portrayed is still very much portraying it as this mysterious, dark continent with savages. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've seen more than my fair share of ignorant people who, to this day, think Africa is a country. And, you know, that you have to learn to speak African to go to Africa, and that no one in Africa speaks English kind of stuff. And that everyone on the continent looks like they walked out of a Save the Children commercial. Like, there are plenty of people who still hold this perception of Africa, right? Because that's what's presented to us. Now, if you are not dumb, you then educate yourself and you realize, oh, that's some bullshit. Got it. Right? Especially if you've had over 40 years to do so. So that's where I'm like, right message, wrong messenger. You know? But I will say, as much as I don't really want to, like, be out here defending Tiffany Haddish, bringing fucking fried chicken on the red carpet in her bag, Hillary Clinton probably does it too, right? So relatable. Let's not pretend that Tiffany Haddish is the only person ignorant enough to be surprised that there's grocery stores in Zimbabwe. Like, no tea, no shade, but let's not pretend she's the only person who would have had this reaction. You know what I'm saying? It's sad that she's not the only one. But again, I think some folks, I will say, in the commentary I was seeing were acting like this other aspect of it about the way Africa is portrayed, particularly in the West, we know there is something to that. You know what I mean? Not to mention, if you read Walter Rodney, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, like, that shit's intentional. It's not even that technology and whatnot may not necessarily be 1-to-1 ratio with where it is in a lot of Western countries and whatnot. But that's intentional. Like that was systemic and planned and forced, frankly, to keep Africa underdeveloped. You know what I mean? So, anyway, big recommend if you've never read it. How Europe Underdeveloped Africa by Walter Rodney. Tiffany Haddish is standing her ground amid criticism for her Zimbabwe grocery video. Over the weekend, the Girls Ship comedian, oh, I miss those days. When she first came out, and like I really only knew her from Girls Trip and the Carmichael show, oh, I was just like, she's great. Times have changed. She shared a TikTok video of herself strolling through the aisles of a supermarket in the same thing for Gerard Carmichael as well. I used to be like, he's great, and I'm just like, ugh. Strolling through the aisles of a supermarket in the country's capital city, Harare, while marveling at the size of the store and numerous products available. The video was swiftly met with criticism from social media users who called Haddish's reaction to the store ignorant and labeled the video as misguided. After one Twitter user reshared a snippet of the video with the caption, Tiffany Haddish is surprised that there's a grocery store in Africa. What's wrong with these people? Haddish was quick to defend herself. I'm an American, a black one at that, and told for years that people are starving in Africa. Showed pictures of babies with flies on them, she wrote on X. Told crazy stories of how they kill each other and there is war every day there. And considering, you know, people in Nigeria are protesting right now because they are starving. Again, like you have to think about where your news sources have their allegiances and where they get their funding, but you also need to educate yourself. Okay, Tiffany? You can do it. Of her trip to Zimbabwe, she added, I asked my black friends to go with me and they were scared. We got here and I have been eyes full of tears finding out the truth. The media be lying. I thought I would share because I know people in the USA believe Africans don't have anything. Africa is diverse, Tiffany. It's like 60-something countries. In several additional posts, Haddish expanded on her desire to shut down misconceptions about Africa and pointed out the heavily circulated clip is only a fraction of the full video. Now, I had the full video, and I mean, y'all saw, I feel like, what you needed to see, because I've watched the whole thing, and I couldn't do it again, child. If they would have showed you the whole video, you would see me say I am demystifying some bull that we have been told and showed in America, she wrote. Representatives for Haddish did not immediately respond to Entertainment Weekly's request for comment. Ooh! The Sunday TikTok sees Haddish walking through the grocery store while reacting with shock to its products. And yeah, like it very much is like, oh wow, they got plates. Hey y'all, I'm out here, blah, 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 blah. She later says, I like demystifying-ish before showing off some select products with the camera, noting, it don't smell bad. They got the sodas, they got a whole wall of alcohol, they got a frozen section. Unlike the grocery stores at home, they actually sell dishes. Haddish also points out the registers at the front of the store saying, ain't no different from home, before exiting the supermarket. Mickey, libraries are a thing. Libraries are a thing. I feel like at this stage in life, you shouldn't have needed to go to Zimbabwe to discover that there would be grocery stores there. Like, I feel like you had time, access, and opportunity to be a little bit more informed. Yeah, she does point out the toothpaste as well. Of course, Josiah, of course. But yeah, it's just, damn, you know what I mean? Just to go back to this idea of like right message, wrong messenger. If the message is that we've been fed a bunch of bull S, like she says, yes. But the presentation, that's where you lose me. That's where you lose me. She's been to Africa before. Is that right? Because I know she's Eritrean, but I also know that her dad was the Eritrean parent, if I'm not mistaken, and he's no longer around. And I also know she grew up in foster care. So I don't really know how connected she is to that part of her heritage. And I mean, I even relate to that. I'm American on mom's side, and my dad is West Indian. And I had never been to Trinidad until I was grown. I went to Trinidad for the first time 3 years ago, like fully an adult. So it doesn't necessarily mean that because you have a parent from a place you've been there before, even as an adult. Just saying. Yes, it's the presentation. LMAO. Anyways, y'all, that is it. That is all. I was trying to get out of here in like 30, 40 minutes, and I think I'm at I'm at 50 minutes exactly now. And I gotta run because there's a double birthday at the dog park. One of my homies is a lunatic, and he has 4 Dobermans. He had 2 when I first met him, and then the male was not fixed because he wanted him to stud, and he did. And out of the litter of puppies, my friend was just like, I think I'm going to keep one. And I said, you're going to have 3 Dobermans? And he's just like, yeah. But he's like a bohemian guy. He's a painter, an artist. Like, it's just like a very hippie-ish lifestyle. So, long story short, he wound up keeping 2 of the puppies. So he has 4 fucking Dobermans. And the 2 puppies are turning 2 today. So he's had these Dobermans for 2 years now, except for like for the first couple of weeks when they were still weaning. But yeah, he's having a party at the park for the 2 puppies, as well as, just celebrating all of our dogs because we are a little community here. So I got to go. Thank you, D Figs. I do plan to come back more. I think part of what happens with me is the tactic has worked, meaning, suppressing my content, shadow banning me has been a huge hit to my motivation here on YouTube. It really has disincentivized me, even though I understand what's happening intellectually, emotionally. I'm just like, but they're just going to suppress my content. I'll just post to Patreon instead. But I would like to be more consistent on YouTube again and get back in my groove where I'm seeing you guys, maybe at least once a month, maybe twice a month if I get really spicy. But we'll see. As far as this election goes, I don't want to seem all doom and gloom by any means. Like, I'm just trying to call a thing. And as I said last time around, when the nominee wound up being Biden, and I was just like, here's all of the problems with that. And then I was called a Drumpf supporter. I started living very differently at that point in terms of my action, in terms of my resistance and work toward Black liberation. And I am way more fulfilled in how I pivoted that because electoral politics ain't gonna get me free. Like begging with, if you are begging someone else to free you, you will forever be a slave. And that was something that I came to realize all them years ago. So as much as I'm like, yeah, these are real threats, but also my life is going to be wonderful because I see to it. And I'm in community with people who understand these perspectives and share them with me. And we work together to dismantle them, at least on a local level, as much as we can. And even when we fail, we're still in community with each other. And that in itself is so uplifting and so nourishing. And, just having people pouring into each other like this, that's my reality. I'm not out here having an existential crisis about Project 2025 because I'm going to be all right. Yes, Danny. Being realistic, it's not doom and gloom. And on that note, I love you guys lots, and I will see you soon. And yeah, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, stay dangerous, and never trust a Zionist. Bye.